In this video, we are going to talk about factoring polynomials completely. Polynomial is factored completely when it is written as a product of factors that cannot be factored further. It is similar to the concept of prime factorization. So if I have the number 12, for example, and I write it as 2 times 6, that's factored but not factored to the prime factorization because 6 can be factored further. So what I would do instead is write it as 2 times, and instead of 6, I would say 2 times 3. So this one is factored. This one is the prime factorization, which is what we're calling factored completely. So it is factored until it can be factored no further. We're just going to look at two quick examples here, starting with example 1, 3y squared plus 24y plus 45. Now as I look at this, it is a trinomial. So I would typically go a times c, look for factors of that to add to b. But remember, the first thing we should always do is look for our greatest common factor. This one does in fact have one. If you look at it, 3 goes into 3, 3 goes into 24, and 3 goes into 45. So I have a greatest common factor of 3. So before I do anything else, I'm going to factor out that 3. So it's going to be 3 times something, and to get the something, I'm just going to divide each term by 3. So I'm going to get y squared plus 8y plus 15. Now I can go to factor my trinomial. So when I factor my trinomial here, I'm going to do the work off to the side. I'm going to do 1 times 15, so I want to multiply to 15, and I want to add to 8. If you know the shortcut method, use it. I'm going to show all the work here. So I'm going to do 1 times 15, 2 doesn't go, 3 times 5. Since everything here is positive, both of my numbers will be positive, so I'm going to use 3 and 5. So I'm going to put my y squared, my 15, my 3 and 5, don't forget your y. Pulling out the greatest common factor of each row, each column, I get y plus 3 times y plus 5. Don't forget that 3 in the front. They're just bringing that down. It is very important that you remember to put the 3 there because we are using equal signs here. So this polynomial equals 3 times y squared plus 8y plus 15, which equals 3 times y plus 3 times y plus 5. So really all factoring completely means is that sometimes you'll have to use more than one method in order to factor it all the way down to where you have prime factors, factors that cannot be factored any further. Let's do one more example just to make sure we understand the concept. So example 2. We can look at this and the a's are definitely common. So immediately as we try that first method of GCF, we should see that the a is common. They're also all even, so 2 is common. Now, one other little trick that can save us some time and energy. If your leading coefficient is negative, make your GCF negative so that you're pulling out the negative number, making that first term a positive. It makes the math a little bit easier. So first I'm going to factor out my GCF, so it's going to be negative 2a times something. And to get the something, I'm going to multiply everything by negative 2a. So here, negative 2 and negative 2 cancels. A cubed divided by a is a squared. Subtract your exponents. 16 divided by negative 2 is negative 8. 2 minus 1 is 1. And then negative 32 divided by negative 2 is a positive 16, and the a's cancel. And now I can factor my trinomial. So I'm going to do a times c, first times last. That's going to give me 16, so I want to multiply to 16. and add to my middle term, which is negative 8. So for 16, I have 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 3 does not go, 4 and 4. Thinking about my signs, I'm multiplying to a positive, so my signs need to be the same, and I'm adding to a negative, so they both need to be negative. So the two that are going to multiply to 16 and add to negative 8 are negative 4 and negative 4. So I have a squared, 16, negative 4a, negative 4a, pulling out my GCF. Notice I need these to be negative for that to multiply correctly. So I get a minus 4 times a minus 4, or another way to write that would be a minus 4 squared. Again, don't forget to pull out that negative 2a. If you wrote it as negative 2a times a minus 4 times a minus 4, that is equally correct. I just wrote this part as a minus 4 squared. And that is factoring completely. Normally it's going to mean that you've got a GCF and then you've got something else that you still need to do.